Hi there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. Kevin Campbell never wants to see £25 million Arsenal player on the bench from now on. Gabriel Magalhaes has had a strange start to the season. The Brazilian defender played every single game for Arsenal last term, but at the start of this campaign, he found himself on the bench for the opening three games. However, he made his triumphant return to the starting 11 against Manchester United, and according to Kevin Campbell, speaking on the Gooners Pod, the defender shouldn't come out of the team again this season. Campbell says that he wants to see Gabriel and William Saliba starting every game for Arsenal this season now. Campbell spoke about the Brazilian. He said, "We have not played anywhere near the way we can play. For me, I want Gabriel and Saliba to play every game. I do. Mikel Arteta knows against certain teams you can get away with not playing Gabriel, and I'm sure there will be times Saliba doesn't play." Campbell is spot on. Gabriel is a part of Arsenal's strongest 11, so it stands to reason to think that he should be starting every single game. Of course, we live in an age where rotation is important, especially when there is Champions League football to be played at the Emirates this season, but it's tough to justify ever dropping Gabriel in the way he was at the start of the season. We are not sure why Gabriel didn't play at the beginning of this campaign, but we can only hope that the situation is resolved and that the £25 million man will be in the team on a weekly basis from now on. Kevin Campbell thinks £34 million Arsenal man has been great but wouldn't start him versus Everton. Kevin Campbell has admitted that Fabio Vieira has played very well this season but wouldn't start him against Everton. Campbell was speaking on the Gooners Pod and discussing the start of the season. Mikel Arteta's side are currently unbeaten this season, having only dropped 2 points so far. That came in a 2-2 draw with Fulham, where Arsenal really should have comfortably won the match. They went behind to an early Andreas Pereira goal, but couldn't break down Fulham's stubborn defense. That was until Arteta turned to the bench and brought on Edin Nketiah and Fabio Vieira. Vieira went on to win a penalty before setting up Nketiah for Arsenal's second goal. He had a similar impact against Manchester United, playing the pass through to Gabriel Jesus, who ended up settling the tie. Despite his strong start to the season, Campbell wouldn't select Fabio Vieira against Everton. Instead, he would stick with Arsenal's current team. Also, the £34 million playmaker is pushing to get into the team. Speaking about the Portuguese, Campbell said, "Listen, I think Vieira, you can say Vieira's done great when he's come on, and he's helped change it when people are tired. But let's be real here. For me, you don't change the winning team, you keep it going. Vieira and Emile Smith-Rowe and Trossard, they are going to get their opportunities in the cup competitions. We have got Champions League coming up. Everybody's going to get game time, and then after that, when you see who is really performing, that's when you make your decision. I think against Everton, I think Kai Havertz is going to be needed for his physicality and his size as well. I don't think Vieira starts, but he is going to get his chance." Arteta has been full of praise for Vieira, while Martin Keown thinks he is a completely different animal. It would be harsh not to start Vieira against Everton after such a promising start to the season. Kai Havertz has struggled since signing from Chelsea, although giving him the time to play himself into form isn't a bad idea either. Kevin Campbell demands Arsenal player who's played 16 minutes this season starts versus Everton. Kevin Campbell has said that Arsenal forward Gabriel Jesus has to start against Everton if he is fully fit. Campbell was speaking on the Gooners Pod and looking for Arsenal's next match. The international break didn't come at a great time for Mikel Arteta's side. Two late goals against Manchester United sent the Emirates into raptures and provided a huge boost to the club. Arteta would have wanted to harness that and immediately carry it into their next game. Instead, that momentum has been stifled with his most important players setting off around the world to play for the respective nations. One player who has joined up with his country for the first time since the World Cup is Gabriel Jesus. He picked up a serious knee injury while in Qatar that derailed his first season at the Emirates. Jesus was fit enough to come off the bench on Saturday against Bolivia, and Campbell wants to see him start against Everton. It might be quite harsh on Edin Ketia, but Arteta needs to keep standards as high as possible if Arsenal are going to mount another title challenge. Speaking about the Brazilian forward, Campbell said, "Here is a question. If Gabriel Jesus isn't injured, do we win it? Even when he came back, he is still catching up, isn't he? He is still trying to hit the level that he was before, whereas earlier on in the season, he was making such a massive difference. And yeah, he wasn't prolific, but everybody else was playing so well. That's the Gabriel Jesus we need. He's had his injury, he's come back, and he's made a difference." Against Everton, I think Gabriel Jesus, if he is fit, I think he has to start because he makes that much of a difference for us at the top end of the pitch. We don't need more goals from him. We need 20 goals from Gabriel Jesus this season, but we also need Saka to hit the heights, Martinelli to hit the heights, Martin Odegaard to hit the heights. We need Kai Havertz to hit some form as well. Alan Smith says Arsenal now have a player who could be even better than Granit Xhaka. Alan Smith has admitted that he thinks Arsenal star Kai Havertz could end up being even better than Granit Xhaka. Smith was speaking on the Gooners podcast during a quiet international break at the Emirates. Arsenal fans will be relatively pleased with how the season has started, even if they already find themselves playing catch up to Manchester City. A late draw with Fulham is the only blot on their copybook, and the mood will be very positive after their win over Manchester United. Mikel Arteta has been quick to try and use his new signings, with the exception of David Raya. However, there is already speculation that the Spanish goalkeeper may be introduced at the weekend against Everton. One player whose constant inclusion this season has been questioned is Kai Havertz. The German international hasn't had the easiest start to life at the Emirates. However, Alan Smith has backed Havertz to potentially go on and be even better than Granit Xhaka. The 24-year-old has settled into his role in the side already this season, although he doesn't look like matching his 14-goal contributions in the league thus far. Speaking about the German international, Smith said, "It does annoy me a bit the way people are willing to criticize him so quickly. These are Arsenal supporters, and you'd hope that they support in the early days when a new player comes in and he is trying to find his feet. He is trying to understand what the manager wants, and I think that does take time. You see players go in at Man City and try and understand what Pep Guardiola wants and needs. It took Jack Grealish a season. I'm not saying it will take Kai Havertz a season, but he is just finding his feet in that squad, in that dressing room, and in that first 11. I think he is a very good player technically. I think he can be a good player for us, and I heard Arteta say he wants to be getting himself in the box on the end of things, a bit like Granit Xhaka did last season. I think Havertz can be better than that, as he's got more of an attacking instinct, and he is a good finisher when he gets in those positions. Kevin Campbell believes 26-year-old Arsenal man makes a massive difference when he plays. Kevin Campbell has admitted that whenever he plays for Arsenal, defender Alexander Zinchenko makes a huge difference to the side. Campbell was speaking on the Gooners Pod after the first 4 matches of the Premier League. Results have been very positive so far, with a Community Shield victory in the bank and an unbeaten start to the league. The only negative has been conceding a late goal against Fulham that saw them drop 2 points. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has had to chop and change his defense in every league game this season. In every Premier League game so far, a different left back has been selected. Jurriën Timber, Takahiro Tomiyasu, Jakub Kiwior, and finally Zinchenko have been selected in that role. An injury to the Ukrainian prevented him from starting the first 3 matches. However, Campbell is now very excited that Zinchenko is fully fit for Arsenal again. His role in the squad is so unique that Arteta doesn't have another player who can do exactly what he does. Speaking about the impressive left back, Campbell said, "When Zinchenko's not there, I think have Thomas Partey to go into midfield, really did help the squad. People say it didn't work. Well, it did work because we won two of those games and we drew one where there is no way we should have only got a point against Fulham. But as soon as Zinchenko comes back, he reverts back to Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White. So I understand that. Against teams who don't carry the same threat, I think you could mix and match a little bit more, but you could see Zinchenko makes a massive difference to us. He really does. And he doesn't play as a left back, does he? He plays in midfield, so again, he is a huge part of what we do and how we do it. Defensively, he is not Kieran Tierney or even Tomiyasu, but what he does bring to the tables is so important for us going forward quietly. I thought he had a really good game against Manchester United. 25-year-old Arsenal player set to start ahead of £30 million rival for national team tonight. Arsenal goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale is set to start for England tonight and will replace Everton's Jordan Pickford against Scotland. That's according to the Mail Online, who shared the report this morning, and this will no doubt be a huge boost for Ramsdale, who is now in a serious fight for the number one spot at club and country. Gareth Southgate has made it clear that he won't make changes for the sake of it in tonight's friendly. And therefore, this report that Ramsdale is likely to start is a big show of confidence. England fans will still expect £30 million Pickford to be the nation's number one moving forward, but this is a big opportunity for Arsenal's Ramsdale. The report also claims that Manchester City's Calvin Phillips is hopeful of replacing Jordan Henderson in the starting 11. Of course, Ramsdale isn't just vying for a starting role with England right now. The arrival of David Raya at Arsenal has sparked fresh uncertainty about his position moving forwards. Mikel Arteta seems very keen to see how both Raya and Ramsdale cope and react with a genuine challenge for the number one spot. Ramsdale wasn't previously being challenged by Matt Turner, the now Nottingham Forest number one. And much like his competition with England's Pickford, it seems Ramsdale will now have to battle for his Arsenal spot game by game. Arsenal fans have been worried that this will cause unnecessary stress for the keeper, who is a real fan favourite at this point. However, Arteta will be quick to point out that this level of competition is standard at a truly elite team. Arteta's side is already drawing so many parallels to Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, something that is inevitable if a side wants to reach the top. And Ramsdale will surely now be hoping that strong England performance against local rivals Scotland will also help in his battle at Arsenal. Arsenal could resurrect move for 14-goal star in January, Arteta a long-term admirer. Arsenal are looking to bring in a centre forward during the January transfer window, and they could look to return for Dusan Vlahovic. The Serbian international has been on Mikel Arteta's radar since his Fiorentina days, and he was linked with a move to Arsenal during the summer transfer window as well. A report from Tutto Mercato Web claims that the Gunners could make an approach for the striker in January, and an offer of around €80 million could get the deal done. Arsenal currently have Gabriel Jesus as the only reliable forward at the club. Vlahovic could be a quality partner for the Brazilian international, and he could be tempted to join the Premier League club. Arsenal have a talented squad at their disposal, but the attack could definitely use more quality and depth. Vlahovic was regarded as one of the finest young attacking talents in Europe before his move to Juventus, and a move away from the Italian club could help him recapture that sharpness. He has not been able to hit top form since his move to Turin, and he scored just 14 goals across all competitions last season. It will be interesting to see if Arsenal are willing to break the bank for him in the coming months. The Gunners will be hoping to win the league title this season after falling short last year. The 23-year-old striker could improve them in the final third and give them a cutting edge in the attack. As we wrap up today's Arsenal news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.